1 over 28th, closest to you, probably 28th in the bell.
A little bit closer. Not a lot, though.
Here we go. And welcome to the Davenport Coaches Show, coming to you live from Uccello's in Caledonia. Big night here. We're looking forward to talking Davenport sports here for the next half hour or so. I'm Rick Burke. We've got multiple guests here tonight. We'll talk about them as we go through the program here. Don't forget to always stop out to your time, enjoy all their big screens and their fabulous food and wonderful service. Starting out with men's and women's tennis tonight, Patrick Grasshorn, 14th season heading the program. Patrick, heading both programs. Is it hard to balance the two, when you've got two different teams you're coaching often at the same time?
Yeah, it's always a challenge. We have many personalities, even within individual teams. The men from one person to another can be work better with different players. So, that happens with both genders. Both teams generally play at the same time, so that helps out. But definitely some fitting together puzzle pieces and coaching strategies that work best for different players.
Your seasons are split up. You have a short season in the fall, then a more expanded once you get into the spring, of course.
Right.
How about that? Is that hard to get that started and break it up and then get back into it again?
Yeah, it kind of works out nicely because we use the fall season to gauge how much players have been working on their game over the summer, try to figure out where we need to spend attention on, general individual improvements over the course of the fall season so that when we hit the ground running in this time of year, in January, we're at a good place to move forward with our competition.
Had an outstanding playing career at Aquinas College, then got into some coaching at the high school level and that. When did you get the bug and realize you wanted to coach, and what caused that?
Yeah, I would say as early as when I was playing in college. We would, when I played at Aquinas, we had, of course, a head coach. We weren't fortunate enough to have a lot of assistant coaches there. So when players, especially the senior, the captains of the team weren't playing, we'd be helping the rest of the players. So I remember a specific incident when we were at a tournament and I was helping one of my teammates. It kind of felt like the right fit for me, and this opportunity came about. It was something that I was really excited to get into.
Let's talk a little bit about some of your players so far. Your women's team 2-0 from the fall, and now you get into your winter/spring season here. How's it looking for the women right now?
Yeah, I'm really excited for both genders, but especially for the women. We have everybody coming back, returning from last year, where we had one of our best seasons within the GLIAC. So, when we were in the NAI and then transitioning to NCAA has not come without its growing strong position this year to reach our goals.
We're going to talk about the men's team following this, but I'll apologize in advance for my butchering some of your players' names.
No,
here.
that's okay.
We're going to talk about your recruiting situation here because you certainly have an international flavor. Let's start on the women's team. Mina Kotsi, a grad student from South Africa. Mm-hmm. Tell us about Mina.
Yeah, Mina came, 5 years ago and has certainly improved over the course of her 5 years, both in terms of her tennis ability and just her ability to become one of the leaders of the team. She's solid on the court, but she knows how to, work with the rest of the girls to get the best of them as well.
Also from South Africa, a sophomore, Amy Block.
Yeah, Amy, similar to Mina, coming in and with a lot of expectations. She's, if we carry forward from last season, she was our best player. With tennis, you position your players based on their skill set, so you play your best player at number one position. Amy played that number one position last year as a freshman, which carries with it a bit of pressure. She did a really good job, though, handling it, and is certainly excited to keep that moving this year.
Well, with Mina and Amy both from South Africa as well as some other players, other countries, how do you find these players? Do they find you, or how do you find these international players?
Yeah, well, with South Africa specifically, we had a player, maybe 8 years ago by the name of John Philip van Antwerpen. He was our first South African recruit, and he really enjoyed his time at Davenport. Conversely, we really enjoyed his mannerisms and the way he carried himself, so he was a great ambassador going back to South Africa, and so that brought about more players. He had a younger brother that ended up coming to Davenport, friends of friends, and that sort of thing, and just became a bit of a pipeline through South Africa. We have quite a few from that area of the world.
A little closer to home, but still across the border from our great neighbors to the north in Canada, Isabella Carafano, senior.
Sure, yeah. Issa's a Spitfire. She's short in stature, but she hits the heck out of the ball, and she's been working on some specific things to increase her aggressiveness on the court. This year is going to be a great year for Issa.
Now you have a fantastic facility there in the complex over there in the Farmers Insurance Complex, but you've certainly obviously got to play a lot indoors. Where do you work out indoors, and how does that help you?
Yeah, we'd love to use our outdoor courts more, but just the general climate here, we're indoors quite a bit. We are fortunate to have a handful of indoor facilities in the Grand Rapids area. We use primarily two, and luckily for us, one of the facilities has cameras, so we get to stream live matches, and these players that are from outside of the country, their parents get to watch. We're really fortunate to be in this area with such substantial, indoor resources.
Tell us about your family, Patrick. Your wife Nikki's here, and your two kids, and they're ready to dive in. I think some Uccello's Beats over there.
That's right. They're just digging into it. I can see them over there. My wife Nikki and I, we've been married since 2009. We've got two kids that actually we were just talking about how they've known Davenport their whole life. I started at Davenport in 2010, and so 2012 and 2015 are their birth years, so they've known only Davenport. It's a testament to my wife how much she's been supportive for this opportunity for me to coach, have a second family. Visiting
with Patrick Grasshorn, men's and women's tennis coach at Davenport. Patrick, let's switch over to the men's side. They got off to a real nice 3-0 start in the fall, 14-12 last season, but you're back into it. Is it this week or next week you get back into your competition?
In 2 days.
2 days. Yeah. Tell us about who you're playing and where that's going to be at.
Sure, yeah. We play Aquinas College. We play at Grand Rapids Racket, and that will be a 11:30 a.m. start time. It's always fun to play Aquinas. I actually played at Aquinas myself, so playing my alma mater here, we're excited. It is against teammates for the last 3 weeks, so both teams are excited to start playing some new faces.
Back to the seasonal thing, Patrick. I've got to think once you get into the spring that there's some times where, when it's really crappy out, sure, you're going to play indoors. But if it's nice, you want to play outdoors. But there's got to be a whole lot in between where you can't quite decide, are we going to take it indoors or outdoors, right? How do you determine that?
Yeah, there's league-wide standards, so pretty much if it's 50 degrees or lower, we're primarily indoors. It's kind of interesting. You might not think of it, but the court conditions indoors versus outdoors, there's a big difference between the two. And I'd say primarily we've built a pretty strong team that succeeds indoors maybe a little bit more than outdoors. So we're happy being indoors.
Back to your players, junior Jan Stolen from the Czech Republic. He had quite a good season for you last year, second team All-GLIAC.
Yeah, Jan, he has a physical presence. He's a big guy. When you look at him, you might not think tennis player right away. You might think linebacker. He moves really well around the court, even with that big frame, and hits the heck out of the ball. He's a stud.
Well, again, he doesn't win the farthest away. I think from India, Subhash Paramasivam. Now, say it right. Correct me.
You nailed it. Yep.
Subhash from India.
Yeah, Subi. How do I describe Subi? He moves kind of effortlessly around the court, and he's not the fastest, but he gets to a lot of balls with his reach. He's very lanky, and he uses every bit of that slight frame of him to put every energy into the ball.
Back to the European side, Daniil Kitru from Minsk, Belarus.
Yeah, Daniil, he's been around. He's one of those players that are getting his fifth year due to the COVID incident. So he's been one of the standouts on the team. He's very consistent. We know what we get with Daniil. He's primarily played a little bit lower in the lineup, but he's one of our locks.
So, again, with all this international side, I mean, do you recruit in the state also, or you think you can fill your roster mostly with the top-notch international players? Yeah,
we always would love to have more and more domestic players, especially players from around the Grand Rapids area. Unfortunately, the reality is there's the talent is international primarily. We would, like I said, there's a lot of opportunity for strong players within the Grand Rapids and Michigan area, and
part of that is climate driven, isn't it? Also, because if players at a young age show potential, they usually want to go where it's warm, where they can play year round, right?
Yeah, that's a big pull. We do have a handful of players that are from the area. They just play a little bit lower in the lineup.
Well, great. We wish you the best in 2 days. Both the men's and women's team get into competition, and so we can get out to the Racket Club and cheer them on. And we wish you the best. Patrick, thanks for joining us. And let's get back to that Uccello's food, okay?
Sounds good.
Patrick Grasshorn, we'll take a break, come back and talk women's basketball with Shonda Sanders, the head women's basketball coach. Stay with us. The Coaches Show from DUPanthers.com on the air now. And we continue with the DU Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. Stop out, see all their widescreen TVs. They got 1 million of them. There's about 5 different basketball games going on as we speak right now. And again, great service here. Brittany's our #1 server, and she does a fantastic job taking care of the Davenport crew here. But they're all great out here, so stop out and enjoy them. Switching gears to women's basketball, Coach Shonda Sanders joins us, but not all of her voice is here, so we're going to go easy on her. Coach, let's talk about, first of all, last week you lost to a really good Parkside team, then came back Saturday, and you battled Purdue Northwest right to the very end before just being nipped at the end.
Yeah, it was right there, just key moments, and we kept telling the girls it was going to come down to rebounding. Like, that game was going to come down to rebounding, just how back and forth it was going. And we, not just the last play, it was like 4 plays before that, just gave up key O boards in our comeback.
You know, when you lost a few games this year, right down the final minute, it's always easy to look at the last play or two, but coaches always stress it's those little things that happen throughout the game.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I told our girls. It was like, it's not the last play that made us lose. We missed free throws before that. We missed layups before that. We had fouls that we shouldn't have fouled, where they just threw up shots and we reached for no reason. So it was little things that happened before that. But of course, people only remember a certain play, but to me, to the team, that wasn't a play that beat us.
Watching your team, you can see that they're coming together. You know, it's not in as long as segments as you want, but you can see the improvement. Yeah,
and we really we've been hammering just the last week or so is defense. Getting back to I told our girls we kind of got lazy because we got into like switching, switching 1 through 4, things like that, and we got lazy. We were lazy switching, and them games when we were getting blown out, we were just lazy defense. So these last just couple of weeks, we just went to back, just grinding it out, no switching, being tough, getting over screens yourself, and it's actually been working for us, and I think it's actually bringing back that aggressiveness in our girls.
Shonda Sanders, the women's basketball coach, joining us on the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. Coach, high school basketball going on in the area. How do you balance coaching your team as much as you can and watching film and talking with the girls who want to meet with you individually about basketball and things going on outside the world of sports? But how do you balance that with recruiting and getting out and seeing future Panthers?
Well, that's why you have great assistants. So like right now, both of my assistants are out at junior colleges watching some recruits that we've been watching or ones that we've heard about. So we kind of balance it out, especially a week like this when we get a bye week. and we only have one game, we try to get out as much as we can between us three with recruiting, with either going to high school games or junior college games, and just getting out there, showing our face, showing schools that we are like looking for future Panthers from their school, especially here on the west side of the state. There's so many schools to go and recruit, so we try our best to get out to all of them.
You bring up the junior colleges, Shonda. Let's talk a little bit about how you balance that. Let's say you're recruiting girls and you've got a girl that is a high school girl, and you know you'll have her for 4 years, and maybe she's here, but the junior college girl is a little better, but you only have her for 2 years. How do you balance those two?
So for me, how to balance is just with doing a rebuild. So this is a rebuilding process of a program. So right now, yes, I will look at yes, I can have a high school girl for 4 years, but it might take the high school girl 2 years to get used to college basketball, to get used to the system, where with the rebuilding program, it's kind of better to go get the kid who's already played in college for 2 years, because you don't have to prepare them or teach them how physical it is in college, the pace in college, or just even the commitment and the timing with classes and scheduling, because they've already done it for 2 years. So all you have to do is just adjust them to your team philosophy or your team system, where with a high school player coming in, you have to just get them ready for being away from home, going to classes, study table. It's just more factors. And so at this point, if I have to pick, I will probably pick the junior college kid.
Then you got to throw in the transfer portal, which is a whole nother ball of works.
And I will pick probably a transfer portal kid too right now, just because of the experience. You could get a transfer portal kid that's coming from a winning program of a school.
How do you sit back when you're looking at a transfer portal and try to imagine how they're going to fit in with the kids on a personal level? Because if it doesn't mix personally, it isn't going to work.
I try to look, if I see kids that maybe that I've recruited before they went to a different school, or kids that come from AAU or high school programs that I know very well, so I know like their old coaches. So then I'll kind of know like the character of that kid already, because like, okay, if you played for this coach, I know this coach doesn't take this from a player, or doesn't do this, or I know this coach ran this system, so I know you'll be able to run our system, kind of thing. So it's kind of like going into the background of the kid.
Just one game this week, this Saturday against Grand Valley at home. Rare Thursday night off. What will you do in terms of your schedule? Because coaches like to get these routines Thursday, Saturday, and practice and all the study tables, everything in the same order. This is a little different. What do you do with an extra night off?
So I gave them an extra day off in the week. So instead of them normally just having just Sunday off, they got to get Sunday and Monday off, just to help their legs just rest more. And then I kind of keep it away where Thursday practice will kind of be like a game. So practice will be more of like playing a lot up and down, because that's what their bodies are used to, playing a game on Thursday and then kind of walkthroughs and stuff on Friday and then playing on Saturday. So just keep their bodies used to it. Tomorrow will be more like just a scrimmaging day.
Well, Coach, I said I'd go easy on your voice. I don't think I did it as much as I wanted
it's
to.
Okay.
But that's all right. I appreciate you joining us. Good luck this week, and we look forward to visiting with you again next Wednesday.
Hey, thank you.
Coach Shonda Sanders here from the women's program. We'll take a break, come back and talk men's basketball with Bert Paddock, the head basketball coach of your men's program, as the Davenport Coaches Show rolls on from Uccello's in Caledonia. And we're back, one final segment on the Davenport Coaches Show. Glad you could join us. We're here Wednesday nights at 7. If you stop out, you can observe us in what we do here on Wednesday nights. It runs at 7 to 7:30 approximately on the YouTube channel of Davenport, which you're watching it right now. You already know that. But in any case, if you don't watch it live, don't forget, you can pull it up anytime. You can watch any of the previous shows. As soon as this show's over, it immediately goes to On Demand with the On-Demand YouTube channel, and you can pull it up right now. We're switching to men's basketball. Coach Bert Paddock, the head coach, joins us right now. Coach probably had the most fun that he's had all year last night as Kuiper College came over, and an overwhelming win, 115-64. Numerous record setters, the 6th most points ever scored by a Davenport basketball team. School record 23 three-point baskets. Yes, you heard me correctly, 23 three-point baskets made. And Marcitas Leach, your outstanding all-conference performer, set an individual school record with 9 three-point baskets. Just a fun night all around for the Panthers.
Well, it was. We had a good week. You know, you get a conference win, you come back and double up and get Kuiper on the ropes there. And I did. I thought our kids played really well. I thought we shared the ball incredibly well. We had a lot of kids play really well. Gave us some confidence. Crosstown rival Grand Valley. Hopefully it'll give our kids some fire in their belly so we can get this thing done this weekend. But going back to yesterday's game, I think the thing that was great for us was there were just so many people. It wasn't just, you said it, Leacho had a great game and all that, and he did, had 9 threes and 35 points, but it was a team effort. There were so many guys that contributed. Great job on the glass, did a good job rebounding, had single-digit turnovers. Just tremendous effort by our guys. Thought they were really dialed in, and like I said, hopefully we'd have a couple good practices next couple days and be ready to get after it on Saturday.
Let's get back to that previous game against Purdue Northwest Saturday. Your team battled and pulled out a win there, and that was satisfying because that gave you 2 out of 3 at home for the week.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how hard it is to win. They really don't, man. You get into college athletics, and everybody thinks, oh, well, we just want to win. Everybody wants to win, and everybody's playing at a high level, and everybody's recruiting and bringing in really good players. And P&W's had a very good season. They beat a very good Grand Knights before that, and we knew we'd have our hands full with them, and knew our kids were disappointed after the Parkside defeat, and thought we had a great day of practice on Friday, and we came back Saturday and really thought we did a good job with the game plan, took away their first and second options, and did a really good job on the defensive side of it. But again, shared the ball really well, made enough shots to win the game, but for us to be up double figures or close to it, give up the lead, and then to be able to take the lead back and win by 9, just proud of the way our kids hung in there and stayed the course. And it's been something we've struggled with this year when we've hit some adversity. We haven't dealt with it the very best. I thought we did a really nice job of that the last couple of weeks, and able to get us a couple more wins that maybe early in the year we wouldn't have done.
Coach, you can't get on a roll until you win 2 in a row, and you finally did the first time, won 2 in a row now.
We talk about those things. We talked about trying to get X number of wins this week and all those things, and can't get the second one if you don't get the first one. And I really do think our kids are feeling good about themselves. Man, today in film, I wish you could have been there. We had your voice going with the film and the positive plays, and kids were feeling good and excited and laughing. It's the first time we've done that in a while. When you don't win back-to-back games, man, it's a grind, and we're at it for a long time. And I just felt really good for our kids today. They were having fun. They were enjoying.
I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked Coach Sanders. You get the rare Thursday night off this week, and coaches are such creatures of habit, and they want routines, and that it's a little different now. What do you do Thursday that you wouldn't do for the rest of the year when you're playing every Thursday?
Well, to be honest with you, Rick, I may be a little different than a lot of people. A lot of people like routine and doing the exact same thing. I sometimes like to get out of that routine and try to throw different things at our guys. We actually have an opportunity. I think we're going to throw our guys in the pool on Friday. Maybe get away from the court and do some different things and keep our minds fresh and our bodies fresh. People don't realize it, man. Basketball, from the first week you're at school to about the last week you're there, you're either doing strength conditioning, you're doing whatever, and it's a long season, and you got to keep these guys excited for the next contest. And so we're going to do some different things this week. We actually had donuts and chocolate milk and all that good stuff this morning as we watched film and listened to you.
I wish I'd been there for the donuts.
Right. There were none left. I can promise you that. The guys wiped them out, and we had a heck of a time this morning and just kind of enjoying each other. And I think we have to do that sometimes. And the X's and O's are important, but I think sometimes the people are just as important as the X's and O's. And we had a really fun morning this morning, and we'll have a great practice tomorrow. We'll figure out what we're going to do on Friday with the pool and all that good stuff. And then, like I said, man, we are frothing at the mouth to get it Saturday. I know our kids are going to be jacked up and ready to go.
Well, you've got your rival Grand Valley State coming in Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock at the DU Student Center. The women at 1, the men at 3. They got the better of it Saturday at their place way back in December. It seems like 6 months ago, but it was the first week of December, and it was a game that you had a chance to pull it out. They pulled away in the last 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, you know what? We played really well for a long period of the game. It was a 5-6 point game either way for a while. Then they got up 6 or 7, and then we went through one of those spells we've talked about where we hit some adversity. Maybe a couple calls didn't go our way. I won't say they're bad calls. They were just calls that didn't go our way, and we kind of got in a little bit of a lull there. And they went up double figures, and before we figured it out, next thing you know, you're down 20. And then we fought all the way back, have the ball down 6 with about 2.5 minutes to go, and couldn't find a way to win the game. But I was proud of our guys for fighting back and continuing to compete in that game. Saw some things we think we can take advantage of this next game. Been watching a lot of film today with my assistant coaches and trying to figure out a good game plan to put these guys in a good spot to give us the best chance we can come Saturday.
We asked you last week about improvement overall and really stepping up the next time. You mentioned Miles Ballou and how he's coming on. Who would you say from the start of fall practice has made the biggest stride to right now?
Yeah, maybe Jaden Terrell. Jaden's last year, he was in his first year, I think he was just kind of, a little bit envious of the other guys and watching them and trying to be like them and taking a back seat. And we kind of convinced him, look, man, you're one of the longest, most athletic kids on our team. You can shoot it, get to the basket. I think he's really bought into a new role of, instead of trying to figure out where his baskets are going to come, wanting to guard the other team's best player. And he's also became a kid that at halftime when the game's over, he's constantly asking, how many rebounds do I got? He's always setting goals like that. And when you do those things, the offense, for whatever reason, just sort of seems to happen. And he really has. He's gotten lost in the game vocally on the bench. I told you that before, like just communicating more and taking ownership of the group in his second year now. And that has translated to then being one of our leaders on the floor when we're actually getting up and down. His voice has really been heard on the defensive end. And in turn, he scored 20 points a couple games in a row. And so he's played really, or maybe 17 to 20, whatever it was, but he's been a catalyst for the last couple of wins. And man, if he can keep doing that, take some of the load off of Miles and off of Leach on the scoring end, it'll go a long way for our team as we go down the stretch here.
One final thing back to last night. Everybody played noteworthy minutes. One jump shot away from everybody scoring as well. But it's great to see, like TJ Mitchell doesn't get many minutes for you right now, but it's great to see the bench react when TJ and the other guys score like that.
You know what, I've said this for years, Rick, and I mean this when I say it. The hardest thing for me as a coach, the thing that's probably the most disappointing is not being able to get everybody out there for 20, 25. Not everybody can play, and I am incredibly fortunate. You mentioned TJ and you mentioned Jack, the one guy that didn't score last night. He had an open jumper. We wish he would have made that one. But, man, those guys have had just the most positive attitude all year, not maybe playing as many minutes as they want, and our team hasn't won as many games as we want to. But for them to stay as positive they are, and yes, sir, and no, sir, and buy into what we're doing and compete every day, just they're a blessing for me as a coach, because I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of programs where it's just not that way when kids aren't getting those opportunities. And